2b2t. Now I'm pretty sure any of you Minecrafters have heard of the old anarchy server called 2b2t owned by Housemaster. In today's video, I will be trying to escape the spawn of 2b2t. 2b2t is an anarchy server, meaning hack clients, all sorts of hacks are legal. Players aren't so friendly, which made the escaping of 2b2t's spawn even harder. But I managed to make it out. The first thing that I did when I spawned in was immediately look around. I needed to find stuff that would benefit me later on, maybe even some pieces of wood, dirt that could help me pillar up to the ceiling. As I looked around, I found a water stream, and I thought that it would be a great idea to go to the very top, as it looked like it was almost even touching the top. So I thought it was gonna be an easy escape, and I went up the water stream. As I was reaching the top, I realized that if I fell, it would be very bad because I would die. When I got up, I found a lot of wood there, so I decided to mine it because I didn't know if I was ever gonna find wood in spawn. After crafting some sticks and making a sword, I decided to go into the nether to find a way to escape. After getting into the nether, I decided to look around to get used to my surroundings. Out of nowhere, a visitor, a friend popped out of nowhere. I decided to make peace with him and gave him 2 sticks. Then we parted ways, for we each had our separate journeys. Now I kept exploring, wandering around, looking for exits, taking twists and turns. After making it out of the obsidian maze, it almost felt like, I found this weird big room filled with portals and obsidian and end crystals everywhere. And there I saw it, someone running and explosions behind them, clinging onto his life as his totem of undying barely saved him from death. I chased after them, wondering if I could steal their loot, something to help me start up. It would be very risky, but the spoils would be worth it. I had to be smart about this, because any mistake that I made would lead to me getting killed and it'd be setting my progress. And I saw my first murder. I had to stay away from him because I knew that he could kill me in one shot, so I had to be very careful, but by then I had already been spotted and he was ready to kill. After respawning, I spawned in a huge cobblestone box. I was looking for my way out. I knew there were only 2 ways I could get out: get lucky, find the hole, or either mine out. But I knew mining out was very impractical because it would take a long time. So I decided to explore. I looked around for a bit until I finally found the hole. When hope was beginning to get lost, I finally saw the light from the darkness. I saw the escape. I had made it out of the box, and now I had to find the way out. After I made it out of the cobblestone box, I had to figure a way how to get out, but it was easier said than done. I walked around for several minutes, looking around, looking for an escape. Somewhere, somehow looking for dirt, anything that I could mine to help me escape this prison. As I was wandering for a bit more, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know where I could go until the idea finally dawned upon me. Go into the nether. As I got into the nether, I immediately started running. I knew that I had to be quickly, but careful not to get spotted. I found a hole and I jumped into it. And I saw a chasm of grief, destructed pillars. But I knew that if I went down there, I had a chance to survive. I found wood, and I wanted to go down to see if there's any wood at the bottom, any easy accessible wood. I descended down the vines, seeing if there was anything important down there for me. After making it to the floor of the nether, I decided to walk around. I needed to find any easy and accessible materials. After running around, jumping over lava pools and obstacles, after finding a lot of wood on the ceiling, I decided to climb the vines to somehow get up there. But I didn't really know how. I tried climbing the vines, but it didn't let me up. After not being able to climb the vines, I decided to just go back into the nether portal. Still sad that I wasn't able to find anything in the nether, but maybe there'd be something in the overworld. As I went into the nether portal, I spawned at the bottom of spawn. Now, the only thing separated me from the void was a thick layer of bedrock. I ran around for quite a while and I really didn't know what to do down here. I just kinda ran around. I really didn't know what to do down here. As I ran around through the bottom, I was very careful not to fall into any bedrock holes. There was a risk that I could fall into a 2x1 bedrock hole, meaning I'd be stuck there for all of eternity if I didn't have any blocks, which made the journey through 2b2t's underworld of a spawn even more difficult. I knew that my chances were very slim of getting out as I was walking around, and luckily these 3 end crystals were here, so I decided to kill myself. As I spawned in, I looked around, seeing if there was anything that could help me. As I climbed and looked around, I found this obsidian path. I decided to follow it, see if it could lead me to anything. As I reached the end of the path, I found a lot of dirt. Now I decided to mine this because it would be very useful to pillar up. Dirt was the most primary and important building block at this point. As I finished mining all the dirt, I decided to look around. I needed to find some more dirt because I knew that 7 blocks of dirt wasn't going to be enough to pillar to the ceiling. After running around for a long time, I tried to make a jump that I knew I couldn't make. After losing 5 hearts, I found a huge jackpot. I had found so much dirt, I decided to mine it up immediately. Now I had to be safe because any wrong move could send me back into the bottom of 2b2t. After mining all that dirt, I decided that I had to move and move now because I had a stack of dirt, but I didn't want to risk being spotted. I had to move quickly because all that work, if I was spotted, would be wasted and would be for nothing. Now, as I went up this mountain of cobblestone, I had to be very careful and very resourceful, for I only had a limited amount of dirt, and if I were to waste it all just getting on top of the mountain, I would be stranded up there. So I had to be very resourceful. After looking around one last time, I decided to pillar up because the journey was about to begin. After making it halfway up, I needed to climb some more because I saw there was a bunch of blocks at the top and I could scavenge some and pillar my way to freedom. I knew making it to the top was going to be very difficult, but I decided to climb this mountain, trying to use as least dirt as possible, but I knew it could be done. After getting higher and higher, it became more difficult. Health started to deplete, so did food, and I was running out of blocks. I kept climbing, and I was reaching the top, little by little, being very careful, trying not to fall. I made it on top of the cobblestone pyramids, or so I thought. My journey still continued, but I knew it was going to be a lot easier. As I went higher and higher, it almost felt a lot easier because as I was climbing, there was lower risk of me falling and dying because there was a bit of an overhang going over the mountain. Now, I went as high as I could go before I started placing blocks. I had to use these blocks very wisely because I didn't know how much higher I had to pillar up. Well, I had made it on top of the mountains that I once looked up at. I was looking all over the land. My objective now was to escape now that I had made it on top of the mountain. I began to look around the top of the mountain, looking around for a way that I could get out. I had made it on top of the mountain, but I needed to find a way that I could make it on top of the obsidian wall because I knew that 10 blocks of dirt wasn't gonna make me to the ceiling. I had found the way that I was gonna get out. I decided to pillar up to this pillar of wood and mine all the precious wood because maybe I could make a pickaxe and mine the cobblestone because there was plenty of cobblestone on this mountain. After all, they were made out of cobblestone. I could mine it and make my way to the ceiling. After I finished collecting all that wood, I decided to craft a pickaxe and an axe. I knew that that axe could be used to mine some more wood if I ever came across it, and the pickaxe was of course to mine cobblestone. I began to mine cobblestone with the new pickaxe that I had made because I knew that it was going to be a lot easier to pillar up with the resources that we have. After mining some cobblestone, I decided to look around. I needed to find a place where I could begin the climb. After pillaring out, I had found the place. I began to build a staircase, very careful, trying and hoping not to fall off. Construction of the staircase was going very well, but I began to realize that building a staircase to the very top of the ceiling wasn't going to be efficient and would take much longer, so I decided to start pillaring up. As the ceiling was getting closer and closer, I decided to call it quits. I was running out of blocks, my pickaxe had already broken, and I had only had an axe. I decided that it was time to find a new way out. If I wanted to escape this place, my best bet was to go through the nether. It was a risky decision, but if I found a nether highway, it would be worth it. After getting back to my senses and decided to go back to the nether portal, the worst thing that I thought could happen, happened, and I was quickly murdered by another player. After respawning, I spawned in a huge cube of water. I looked around very confused. At first I didn't even understand where I was, and I quickly drowned to death. After I respawned, I did a bit of exploring and managed to find a shulker box. I quickly searched, but there was nothing inside of it and stored it for later because I knew it would be useful. Once again, my hopes were still high for finding an escape, so I went into the nether again. All I was wishing for was to find the nether highway. When I made it into the nether, my first objective was to not die. I had to look for the nether highway because that might be the only way I could escape. The nether highway spanned thousands and thousands of blocks going all across, and if I found a portal through there, I might have found my way out. I had to not mess up this time, be very careful and avoid people at all costs. After doing parkour, jumping through obsidian pillar, I reaped what I sowed. And after going for a risky jump, I finally slipped and fell. When I spawned in, I immediately looked around, realized that I had spawned right next to a cobblestone mountain. Now I knew that this was going to be useful because now I was going to climb to the ceiling. You see, the cobblestone mountain that I spawned right next to led all the way to the top and had a water stream going all the way to the very top. So that meant that I only had to do a bit more climbing to reach the ceiling of the spawn of 2b2t. As I made it to the top of the mountain, I realized that I had spawned in the exact same place that I did when I first spawned into 2b2t. I knew that I could surely try again and maybe even make it out this time, so I began climbing the water stream. I made it to the top of the water stream, and with the pickaxe that I crafted, I began mining the cobblestone and pillaring myself up to the ceiling. As we got higher and higher, it was imperative to stay very careful. Although, it was pretty easy, just mine the wood and cobblestone in your way and pillar up. Any wrong presses of a key, and I could go flying off this place, resetting all my progress. I had finally made it to the top of the ceiling of 2b2t. The feeling was a great feeling. So many failed attempts, but I finally made it up here. I had made it to the top of the 2b2t spawn, but the only thing blocking me from freedom was a thick obsidian wall on the top. Now I decided to go into the nether portal, as it would be easier to escape. At the same time, it would be super risky. But if I go through a nether portal high in the air, maybe I would spawn in the nether super high, maybe even finding the nether highways. So I decided that this risk was worth it. After finally making it to the nether portal, I soon realized that another threat would be, what if I fell into a portal trap? If I fell into a portal trap, this could ruin the whole entire run and I would be stuck there for all of eternity. But I knew that the only way to escape this place was to take risks. As I spawned in the nether, the most luckiest thing that I never thought would happen happened, and I found the jackpot of loot. Now this was gonna be so useful because that means that it was gonna be easier to escape and safer. I immediately stored all of this loot in the ender chest because I didn't know how much more time I would have until I was attacked. I ran around quickly looking for the nether highway, going through twists and turns until I finally had found where I had died. Quickly, not wanting to be spotted, I immediately started mining this obsidian block. I had to get out of this place as fast as I could before anyone saw me. After I finished mining the obsidian, I quickly started to get on the run. I could not be spotted and I had no time to die. All around me were nether portal traps, so I had to choose carefully which way to go. I took a random path, not wanting to waste more time after eating a gapple. Now I had to be very fast, not wanting to be spotted. I was in this huge room. I didn't think the nether highway was gonna be this size. After more wandering, I had finally found the nether highway. Now I decided to just go in one straight line and I had to be as careful as possible because I knew that people would often patrol the nether highway. I still kept running in the same direction, hoping not to get spotted. It was a very scary feeling because at any time, anyone could just come out of nowhere and one-shot me, resetting whatever progress I had made. After finding some cool things, I had finally made it to the portal that I was gonna go through. And after finally making it to the overworld, seeing fresh trees and saplings in air, I decided to leave my mark, and that's where the journey ends.